Hey guys and girls, and welcome in. So let's get the elephant out of the room immediately. So what's up with the title of this video, right? Some Linux distributions, some operating systems are kind of dealing with activism of various kinds, right? And not only with the technical side of their distribution. And this is perfectly fine if you agree with the activism that is going on. If you don't, then you may or may not have a problem with their worldviews, right? And this is where OpenMandriva comes into the focus as one of those that presents itself as kind of a activism and politically neutral distribution. They don't really care about what your opinions on this or that topic is. They care that you get the workable product and that you can use your Linux distribution, that you can use your computer, that your computer listens to you, and basically that you have your freedom that was promised by Richard Stallman and Linus Torvalds and everyone else involved into getting our favorite operating system, of course. So this time I'm going to try to do something new by reviewing this distribution, because all of this talk that I have done in the introduction falls completely into the water if this distribution does not work properly, or if it does not, you know, if you don't like it, if it's not good as software. So we are going to give it a try. In the past few days, I have already installed the Wayland version, the KDE, of course, because that's their Hello product. The X11 version, I have talked a lot to their developers. We have had 2 live streams on this channel already, and there was a bunch of questions. The president of the Association of OpenMandriva was also in our chat yesterday, and that was kind of awesome because he answered a lot of questions that people in chat have had. We tried a lot of stuff. We discovered a couple of bugs that are already being worked on, as I have been promised, and you know, things are rolling, things are happening around this distribution. It's kind of exciting. I am not really familiar with RPM based distributions. I did use Mandrake back in the day, but in the time of Mandrake I was much younger and much less technically competent, you know, so that was one of the reasons why I loved Mandrake. But let's get on to the distribution itself. Yeah, we're going to say something about the history and how we get to this point in 2025. And in the end of this video, which I'm going to mark below, if you don't care about the installation and you just want my overall opinion, I will mark the exact spot where you can listen to my conclusion about this distribution, so you don't have to spend too much time watching the whole video. If you do watch the whole video, I will thank you in advance for that. So let's get going. We are here in the installer. You're just going to press the default option when you boot up from the USB drive. For now, don't use Ventoy, because Ventoy will need a certain workaround if you want it to be able to install this operating system. So just flash it to the regular USB stick and install it this way. So the president of OpenMandriva Association, his name is Bernard Rosenkranzer, and I apologize if I mispronounced it. It's a word from one of the languages that are not very familiar to me. His work is known as on various Linux distributions, starting notably with Mandrake. He did work on that, and he has experience with KDE desktop environment maintenance, and he is currently the president of OpenMandriva Association. So let's go ahead and get rid of the welcome screen for now, and let me project my screen onto yours. and you're just going to go ahead and launch the installer, right? So the thing that is going to be waiting for you is the default OpenMandriva installer. Let's go with English. Let's aim for my city or something close enough. Let's go next, and of course choose your favorite keyboard or whichever you are using. This is perfectly fine. We will go with the default, erase everything and let the distribution decide for us option, because that one is the most practical for new people. And if you are an advanced power user, then you already know how to use all of these partitioning methods, and you don't need any advice from me. So the difference between these options is no swap if you have plenty of memory, but I would recommend using some swap. You can use swap to file if you want to be able to change the swap file size later in an easier way. Without Hibernate, the swap file will be a bit smaller, right? I have 16 gigs of RAM, but if we want to Hibernate, then we need at least 16 gigs of swap, right? So that's what the distribution is deciding for us. Of course, you can choose between any file system of these that you prefer. We can go with the classic Linux one. Let's go ahead and input our name. We can log in automatically just for the sake of this demonstration, but I would advise not doing that on your install. And if you want the same password for the root account, you can really do that. And there is our overview, and we're now going to install and accept everything, and stuff are going to become rolling just as this distribution is actually rolling one, right? So the ROM version of OpenMandriva is the rolling one, and there is a ROC version that is actually stable one. So unfortunately, this already has happened to me once while I was using the Wayland version, and this is now installing the X11 version. This is some kind of a they told me a rare bug in the KDE, but unfortunately I have stumbled upon this bug twice so far. So whether this is something related to my PC here, which is ThinkPad T580, or something related to video drivers that are clearly Intel, I don't know. I'm just telling you that if you get this window, you can freely ignore it. If you want to hold a grudge against the developers of this operating system, there is nothing I can do about it. I'm just telling you my experience with this. However, this bug has not prevented me from installing the operating system the first time, and it will not prevent me this time. So a little bit of history, right? Mandrake was originally released in 98, and it was based on Red Hat 5.1, right? And after that, it moved away from the Red Hat influence, right? And it became its own thing. It was a project of a guy called Gail Duval, and this person is now working on his latest endeavor, which is E operating system, which is like an Android-based operating system, a private one, the Googled one for phones, right? His goal with the Mandrake back in the day was to make the easiest way for anyone to use Linux. So you would just install it. It would basically install itself after a brief questionnaire, right? So anyone would be able to install it. Back in the day when I started using Linux, it was with Debian at first. The difference was really huge between anything up to the point of Mandrake being released, right? Basically, if you were not at least a little bit a hacker in your heart, you would have a fairly difficult time installing any Linux distribution. And then kernel modules happened, and then Mandrake happened, and then everything was a bliss, right? So Mandrake was known for its ease of use, and in 2024, there was a trademark issue with the name Mandrake, so they renamed themselves to Mandrake Linux as one word only. And then in 2025, Connectiva bought Mandriva, and then they renamed the whole thing to Mandriva. That might be significant at this point. And they continued all of the work up until somewhere around 2011, when the whole company has gone away and died. And let's reboot our computer now. And done. And we are going to remove our USB stick at this moment. So after a fresh install, you will be greeted with the couple of options. You can just press enter or wait a couple of seconds and it will begin booting up. So after the Connectiva company was finished, broken, they kind of passed the torch to the next bearer of the torch, which was the community, who are now calling themselves OpenMandriva, right? Let me project the screen once again. And we are going to close the welcome screen for now because I want to show you the update process. So if you go to the system, you can just go ahead with system update and it will ask you for your password and it will call DNF, right? So just type your password. It is running a couple of different commands in the background, so it is asking of you to type your password twice. This is for security reasons, as I was told, because if you would only type your password once, the password would need to be somewhere in the memory unencrypted, most probably, and it would be a security issue. So for now, you need to type the password twice in order to run two commands one behind the other, right? So let's just give it a moment until everything gets updated. There are a lot of packages being updated. I think like 763 packages are being updated along with the kernel, a lot of KDE stuff. So what happened now, right? The OpenMandriva has been existing for a lot more than 10 years, right, at this point, and they have a lot of experience with maintaining this distribution. They are actually the first ones, to my best of knowledge, who have used Tlang or Clang for compiling their distribution. So you might have heard of this news recently, that the Canonical has been trying to compile Ubuntu with Slang and failed. And there were some comments like that OpenMandriva has done it without any problems, but that's not actually accurate. OpenMandriva, like anyone else who have attempted to use Slang, have been having problems. However, that was like 10 years ago, and they have found ways to overcome all of their problems with Slang, and they have provided patches upstream, which the developers of upstream projects have been using for quite a while now. So the problems have been ironed out, right? They are kind of a pioneers in certain stuff. And while this is downloading, we can go ahead and maybe talk a little bit about the various different spins, right? So let me just fire up the browser here. First time when you run the browser, it will ask you for a key to be generated. This is ungoogled Chromium that is being used as a default browser. So there we go. Let's zoom this in a tiny bit so you can read it easier. When you first download this distribution, the default option that you will see is going to take you to SourceForge, and there you will find, let me just show it to you, there you will find a direct download to the rolling distribution, which is ROM, and it will be X11 version. This is their Halo product and the recommended version of all of their spins, right? But if you go here with spins, then you will see that they have variations. This is like Fedora project, right? You can get the OpenMandriva with GNOME, with LXQt, with Cosmic, XFCE, Made Cinnamon, Budgie, etc. And all of these versions are not officially supported, or they are in various levels, right? So usually it's up to the developer of the spin to provide support for you, but it is recommended to use the KDE version if you're not allergic to KDE, right? Or if you can like install your own desktop environment or your own favorite window manager, then this is all fine, because the core is the core, and if you can maintain it on your own, this is all pretty good and okay. There is another option, which is light installation, that will not install a whole bunch of KDE applications. So if you want that one, you can go with Roam here, and then you can just choose Roam Plasma Slim. That's the one that doesn't have all of the crap load of applications pre-installed. And you can go ahead and choose this one with Plasma 6. Plasma 5 will be discontinued soon, and at this point you have to click the ID here, not the one on the right side, but ID here, and then you will get the ISO file here. So some of the browser will prevent you from clicking on this ISO, because the destination site might not be encrypted, so you can just go ahead and press save link as, and the download will start for you. If it doesn't, you can copy link address, you can go to next tab, click here, and voila, the download will start. At this point, let's check out the upgrade process. Okay, so it appears to be finished. Let's press enter and close our browser, and let's go to the reboot. Before rebooting, maybe, let me just show you quickly where we stand. We are now using Linux 6.12.1, which is from the snapshot that I have downloaded from the December of last year. So pretty fresh, but still 6.12.1, not actually the latest of the latest kernels. And let's go ahead and reboot now. There we go. Let's launch console just one more time. So after the update, you can see that now we are on the very latest production kernel, right? 6.12.6 on the day of this recording. So let's go ahead and close this for a second, and let me guide you through the welcome screen. So if you go from behind, there will be some options to get involved, to join the conversation in their chat. Their chat on Matrix is quite active. I would recommend it if you need a quick little question for them, or if you have something more constructive, you can use their forums, you can donate to them. And whichever of these buttons you want to press for now, you need to aim for the icon here, because pressing like here will not work. For the repositories, you can go with any of these repositories. I will show you the repositories manager a bit later. You can go ahead with applications here. So for example, browsers. If you need a different browser than the default one that is ungoogled Chromium, for example, if you want Firefox, you can just click it here. Do you want to install Firefox? Yes. Your sudo password, and Firefox is going to be installed. While this is installing, let me show you how to install Brave. So Brave is not in the default repository, but rather the whole operating system, OpenMandriva, has a whole lot of default prepared repositories for third-party software such as Brave. So if you click on Brave here, what is going to happen? It is going to launch a questionnaire that you might want. I apologize, I clicked twice. That you want to add some repositories, right? So on the bottom screen, you can add Brave here. And if you want all of the software that comes with OpenMandriva, you can select them here, which contain unfree stuff and restricted extra, etc. You can read the description here, and just go ahead and press OK. So at this point, you will, of course, type your password so the repos get added. So this is the This is the point where I have discovered a smallish bug, and you can not actually click on the Brave here at the moment, but rather you have to go to the console and install Brave with DNF like this. And basically this is it. After the Brave browser gets installed, we are going to have it handled by the operating system and have the automatic updates, right? So at this moment, Brave is soon going to be installed, so I can show it to you that we are done with this job, right? Let's go ahead and type Brave, and voila. We are going to give it the KDE wallet so that our... Okay, I was interrupted by a higher force for a moment and I have no recollection of what my last sentence was, but the Brave browser is now installed and we can go back to checking out the OpenMandriva Welcome application, which is actually quite cool and neat for all of the new users. So we can go from behind. Let's say games. If you click on Steam here, it will just install Steam for you. All will happen automatically. Literally no knowledge needed, right? So you can use bottles, Lutris, and other stuff that is being used for gaming. All of this works pretty well. There are some applications for kids. Mind you, these are not all of the applications that OpenMandriva has. These are just some of the most popular ones that you might want to install. So educational, utilities like FileZilla, Proton, Andrar, and similar stuff. Development applications that you might want to use, Qt Designer, Qt Creator. Multimedia applications like Handbrake. This is something that many of you use. Audacity and some codecs. Browsers, you have already seen these. Some other software for the internet. Neko is really good non-electron-based matrix chat client. I use that one. Telegram, of course. And in the graphics section, you have GIMP, Inkscape, and some other stuff. Calibre for your ebooks and etc. And when you go to configure, if you're not familiar with KDE or Linux in general, maybe if you are a new user or if you are thinking about recommending a distribution for your friend who is unfamiliar with Linux, I think they will be most welcome with the OpenMandriva welcome screen, because for example, if you use like say configure the network, it will just launch the KDE interface for configuring the network, right? So they don't really need to know where that option is in KDE, and they can just use the welcome screen to have it all bundled in one place. And through the time, they will learn how to reach the network configuration manager of KDE Plasma, right? And similar stuff. KBackup is of course launching. These are just shortcuts that give you a lot of useful stuff in one place, right? So for hardware, you can configure display. You know what that is, of course, and all of the default stuff. This is where you can install NVIDIA drivers if you have NVIDIA card, which is something that I don't have on this laptop. And you can see other software, right? Some of you might be familiar with DNF Drake, YAM Extender, and such applications, so you can pull them from here. Some other desktop software, install and configure your firewall, some features here that you can read about, and go back to the first welcome screen, right? You can choose here not to show this welcome screen anymore for yourself if you are proficient in Linux. But some of you guys have already asked me in chat if we use the X11 version of, let's say that you download X11 Lite version of OpenMandriva, can you switch to Wayland without downloading the full Wayland with all of the KDE applications version, right? This one is not available for download, but you can easily make it yourself. So the way you will use the Lite version of OpenMandriva KDE 6 with Wayland is by downloading the Lite version X11 and we are now using the X11 version. And let me just copy paste dnf install task plasma 6 Wayland. This is how you're going to do it, and it will pull some required applications for this to transition yourself from X11 to Wayland session. And this is all that you need to do. And now we are going to log out. And may I remind you that I have installed the X11 version of OpenMandriva. So let's go ahead and log out. And voila, now you have the option to use the Wayland session. And let's go and type my password. And voila, we are getting the welcome screen again. And if you see, my pointer is blowing up and moving, so that's your cue that we are indeed using the Wayland session for this, right? One of the things that is recommended, except updating the whole system the way that I have already showed you here, like system update, there are commands which are recommended if you don't are the kind of a person who clicks around. So how you would usually update your system is by using sudo dnf dsync for distro-sync -refresh. Okay, type your sudo password. After refreshing, there is another password, sudo dnf, I mean another command, right? DNF auto remove. The reason why we already finished this because we have already updated distribution, right? So the first command that I have already run has now quickly updated our distribution, but since there is nothing to do, then we are already out. So auto remove will remove some stuff that are not needed. You don't really need to execute this every time after the update, but it's your freedom. You can do that maybe every day, maybe once a week, maybe once a month. It's totally up to you. And there is another command, sudo dnf clean all. Let's go ahead and install btop just for fun. Sudo dnf install btop. Okay. So on my notes, I have a couple of more things to say. So you can expect the ROC version 6 to come out really, really soon. So if you have been planning to use their stable version of the OpenMandriva operating system, you might want to hold on just a little bit more. I think it's about days or weeks. Then you will get the stable version with Plasma 6 and with DNF version 5. DNF version 5, as I recall, has transitioned from Python to C++, so it's a little bit faster. The user experience and user interface of the new DNF is a little bit better visually, so that these are the changes that you might be able to notice. Also, the DNF5 is transitioning over to the rolling distribution at the same date when the new ROC version comes out, so version 6.0. Before getting to the final conclusion, there is one more thing I wanted to tell you, and this is that I have talked to Bernard about the OpenMandriva distribution. I have asked a couple of questions and I got some answers. So let me just switch to my screen of the PC that I'm recording on. So here we are. These are the notes that I got from Bernard, right? So from a user perspective, the OpenMandriva is designed for both non-technical users and experienced users, offering a balance of simplicity and flexibility. The reason I wanted to read this to you is because I don't want to twist his words. Choice between fixed point and rolling release models. All packages except the non-free repository are built from source, ensuring no hidden backdoors aside from potential upstream issues that affect everyone. No spyware or adware. Chromium is ungoogled by default. Google's decision to remove JPEG XL in favor of AVIF was reversed, and OpenMandriva Chromium supports both formats. Work in progress, different spins tailored for different use cases. For example, CLI-only servers versus a newbie-friendly Plasma desktop. Releases are done when they are truly ready and not based on revenue-driven deadlines. Optimized builds for modern AMD CPUs, Ryzen Threadripper and EPYC processors. Proton and DXVK are packaged for better Windows Up game compatibility. From a developer perspective, readable and maintainable packages with automation for reducing boilerplate work. For example, this package spec example, which is something that I'm going to link below this video, so you can just click it. If you're a developer, right? Tools for targeting obscure devices, for example, RISC-V and ARM dev boards without UEFI support. Efficient bootstrapping scripts for new architectures, bringing up a working environment in hours without relying on another distribution. Zlang is the primary tool chain, as I have already mentioned in the beginning of this video. Support for less common programming languages like V. Rolling and Cooker builds are cutting edge, keeping up with important libraries like glibs, OpenSSL, QtBoost, etc. 100% open source except for the optional non-default, non-free repository. From a community perspective, a get it done attitude with quick decision making, avoiding a lot of bureaucracy. Independence from big technology, open to adopting ideas early, for example, switching to Zlang without blindly following trends like rewriting everything in Rust like it is popular nowadays. Non-based on any other distribution. Giving freedom to innovate without being tied to an upstream project. So let me go ahead and switch back to my face for the final opinion, right? I have been using it for a couple of days, and from one perspective this is really stable, and I don't see this going to break anytime soon. I have been in touch with some of the distributions that would break on me immediately, like not being able to go to sleep and resume and such like ridiculous examples of scenarios, right? So for this team, they have a lot of experience with working all the way back with the original Mandrake to a whole lot of years of maintaining distribution. It is theirs, and I believe that they are good at it. Whether or not this will pan out in the long term, I cannot tell you today, but I am intrigued enough that I am willing to install this distribution on my laptop and use it as a daily driver out and about and wherever I use my laptop, which is currently having Arch installed. I will most certainly not remove Arch from my main computer because I need my main computer to be like dependable, and by dependable I don't mean that Arch is the ultimate stability presentation. What I mean by dependable is that everything is already configured on my computer and I don't want to break it and configure everything from scratch. So the way that I'm going to approach the long-term review of OpenMandriva is by installing it on my non-testing laptop. Given the fact that OpenMandriva has both ROC and ROM versions, there is a good possibility that I am also going to install the ROC version on my second production laptop that I use for work, but that one really needs to get a distribution that I really trust. So I am not going to install it on that laptop before I go through this ROM version for at least a couple of months to get a good idea if this works for me or it doesn't. However, ROM version is of course a rolling version, and this is kind of where I'm at the moment. I like to test new things, I like to get latest updates, and I like to get everything as stable as possible and without having it break on me, without me being the one to blame, right? At this point, I think it's fair to say that I'm looking forward to testing this distribution much more, and I'm looking forward to DNF5, and I suppose that you have guessed it by now, I do recommend this distribution. If you have enjoyed and liked this video, please support me by joining the channel by clicking the join button below this video, unless you are on the iPhone device. Or maybe thinking about supporting me on Ko-fi, like Mislav Chinmoku, Machine Gun, David S. and Ragmine already have. So thank you very much to everyone who watched this video, and I'm going to see you in the next one.